Hey everybody, this is Gimp tutorial 11. In this tutorial you will learn how to create a face swap. Basically you're going to have two images. You're going to take the face from one image and place it on the other image and try to blend those two together. Then once you're completed with that, you're going to upload that to your websites, and then you're going to choose two other images that you're going to look for on the internet, and you are going to create a second face swap image. So let's go to Gimp so I can show you how to do this. Before I go to Gimp, these are the three images that I have downloaded. I have Iron Man, and then I have Katy Perry, and I have Matthew McConaughey. So I have chosen to take Katy Perry's face and place it on Iron Man, and I've already done Matthew's as well. But I'm going to show you the steps. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Gimp, and I'll show you what I did put together. This is the image, my final image, and you'll see how her face has been blended into the actual Iron Man. I think that looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but you know, it's pretty good for a start. So you will see my screen is in separate parts. I have the stage or the work area, and then I have this toolbar, and then I have this toolbar. You'll see they're separated. I can change that if I go to Windows and then single window mode. That connects all of them together. Then I can just scroll over. But that's up to you, however you want to use it. I like them to be connected, but you can also go to Windows and then take the single window mode off, and they will be in different areas. Okay, so I'm going to put it back on, and I am going to delete this, and I want to delete this because I want to start with a new image. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is from my website you need to download the images. Okay, so you need to go ahead and get those downloaded. The next thing you need to do is go to File, Open, and you're going to choose the two images that you want to open. Now I have downloaded mine in a Gimp folder in my digital design, so I want to download Iron Man and Katy Perry. Hold the control key down, click on Iron Man, and then click on Katy Perry, and you'll see that both are selected. Or if you're going to do Matthew McConaughey, you can click on Iron Man, Control, and then Matthew McConaughey. So I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to click back on that one. So when I click Open, it brings both of these images in, and you'll see up here in the tab you've got the Iron Man and with Robert Downey Jr., and then you've got Katy Perry. Alright, so on the Katy Perry layer, or the face you're going to move over, you're going to make sure that that tab is selected. And you'll see over here on the right you have your layers that Katy Perry is selected. The next thing you need to do is we need to select part of the face that we want to keep. I'm going to click up here at the top left on a rectangle select tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I want to get all of her face plus some of the hair above and on the left hand side. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag a box around, and you can take your mouse and come to the corner, drag it a little bit. I'm going to drag this down. If I point to the middle, it turns yellow. That shows that I can move that down. I can move this up, so I can just adjust it. I think this is a good size. We're going to delete the extra that's around. So once you've selected it, you can do a Control-C, or you can go to Edit, Copy. Okay, so basically we're copying what we have selected. Now we're going to come back up here, and we're going to click on our first tab, and we're going to paste, Control-V, okay, or Edit, Paste. Okay, so if you did it correctly, you're going to see the Iron Man in the back and then your second image on top. Over here on our layers, you see that this is a floating section. This is important, so let's go ahead and right click on it, right click on this floating selection layer, and then click on to new layer. And then this double click on it, and let's just put, I'm going to put, name it Katie. Okay, so that way we can keep them separated. So you should have 2 layers now. Okay, so with our 2 images, we have Iron Man and Katie. So let's go ahead and decrease the size for the top image. And you'll see Katie should be on top. If it's not, you can click and you can drag it below. That usually doesn't work that well, so you can always use these arrows, down, up and down. So I want Katie to be on top. So with Katie on top here, I'm going to scale down this image. Over here on the left, I'm going to click on the scale tool. You'll see from small to large. Click on it. And I'm going to scale it down some because I want to make sure that I have all of our image. And then if I put my mouse here on the middle, I can drag it around. Okay, so I want all of my image to fit inside the image behind it. So let's at least get that part done. So adjust your top image so that way it fits on top of the other image. And then click scale or hit enter. And we'll click scale. Okay. Now we need to adjust this image so that way her face will fit into the Iron Man face. So with the Katie layer selected, right up above that you'll see opacity. Right now it's at 100%. That means that the image is full color, but we're going to make it transparent. So I'm just going to click and just kind of adjust it a little bit because I want to be able to see both faces. And you can see that I can see the Katie part and the Iron Man. So once I've changed the opacity, I'm going to come back over, make sure scale is done, clicked on, and then I'm going to scale and I'm going to focus on the eyes, and you can see how Katie's eyes are. So I'm going to just adjust and try to fit the eyes into the same spot as close as possible. Okay, and you'll see that the nose is just about right and the mouth is pretty good. So we've got that part, but we can also skim out. But I want her face, you'll see on the right hand side, I want that to be adjusted to the face as closest to the face as possible. And then we have the beard, so again we're going to have to select and bring that down some. So we're going to make her face a little bit bigger. And you're just going to have to play around with it and adjust it. And once you get that done, click scale. And then let's bring our opacity all the way up and see what it looks like. It's fitting in the face, but we've got all this black area. So we need to start erasing some of this. So let's go to the eraser tool. Click on it, and you can adjust your brush. And I'm just going to erase stuff around it. And just do a little bit at a time, and be careful not to erase any of her face. I'll show you a good way to do this. If you click on your rectangle, and I'm just going to come here and highlight and adjust it, get as close to her chin as possible, and hit delete, and it deletes it. It's easier that way. So I'm just drawing a rectangle around the part that I want to get rid of, and delete. And you kind of want the top of her hair to blend in, so you want to kind of go to his hair, and you can see where his hair is, and I'm going to hit delete. And that's not going to look too good, so I'm going to Control Z, and I'm going to leave that there for a moment. And I'm just going to come over here and do the side and adjust. Now with your images, if you pull any that has an ear, make sure that you copy the ear over as well. Okay, so now I've done that. I'm going to come back to my eraser, and I'm just going to kind of skim around her face. And that's not working because I have this part selected. I need to remove the selection. Select none, which is Shift Control A. Select none. We don't want anything selected, but our layer needs to be selected. So I'm just going to kind of go around and draw around and get rid of some of this extra stuff that I don't need. Now, if it helps, you can always turn the Iron Man off. That way you can get more into her face. Alright, now this is a good way to do this, but I'm going to show you a different way. It may be a little bit more difficult to get the hang of it, but it will get closer to the image. So I'm just going to turn off the Iron Man, and up here at the top I'm going to click on the pen tool or the paths tool right here. I'm going to click on it. Now I'm going to scroll in, control scroll wheel, and I'm going to start up here. So I want to click, and then I'm going to go to another spot and I'm going to click. And while I'm holding it, I have not let go of my mouse, but I'm going to drag this to kind of do a contour around her face. Now I'm going to take my mouse, and on this box here, I'm going to drag it back to the circle. That brings it back to its same position. Then when I click again down on her face, you see how it has a straight line, but I'm still holding my mouse key. I'm clicking and dragging, and I'm just kind of moving my mouse until I can get the curve right there on her face, and I think that looks good. I've let go, and then I bring it back to the circle. Okay, so click, drag, bring it back to the circle. Click, drag, bring back to the circle. Click, drag, bring back to the circle. That looks pretty good, but I kind of want it curvy. Bring it back to the circle. And this one's going to be kind of hard because I clicked in the wrong way. So I'm going to just let go, Control Z goes back. Now I'm going to click here, make it curvy a little bit, drag it back. Then I'm going to click here and curve it on the inside a little. And I'm just following the outline of her face. Click, drag. And then you can just click. And I'm just going to click up here to the top around it. Up. Click about right here. And then when I come down to the bottom, I'm going to hold the Control key down and then click. So it gathers both of those together. So let me show that to you again. Control Z, Z, Z. Okay, so this is the last place I stopped. So I'm going to just click up here above the image and come to the corner. And then when I want to come down and meet up with this one, I'm going to hold the Control key down and click. Alright, so now that is selected, I'm going to hit the Enter key. That's important, hit the Enter key, and now you'll see the dancing ants. Now her face is selected. If I deleted anything, her face is going to disappear and this black area is going to stay there. We need to invert it. I don't want the face selected, I want the other part of it selected. So go to Select, Invert, which is Control I. Invert, and you'll see now that this face is selected and the edge is selected. So that means anything between these lines are going to be deleted. So now press the delete key and you'll see that it's gone. Okay, so let me Control Z, let me show this to you again. After I have completed the Paths tool and I've gotten here and connected them together, I press the Enter key. Now I'm going to invert. Select invert, and you'll see that all of this area now is selected. Press the delete key and it gets rid of the black area. Now let's select none. Shift Control A. And then when you click on the move tool, you'll see that those are gone. Now there's a little bit of black there, so what you can do is just scroll in, click on your eraser, decrease your brush if necessary, and just go over it to get some of those extra little spots out. Okay, you already know how to clean it up with your brush, eraser, and all that. All right. And I think that's a lot easier. It does a better job. You see how I put a crease in her face. I don't want that. Just want a little bit there on the side. All right. So now I've got Katy Perry done. She's at 100%. Let's turn on the Iron Man. And it does fit pretty well. And you'll see how the hair and everything is kind of messed up. But we can kind of erase a little bit of that. Let's see what happens if I erase some of that to kind of blend in. I'm not an artist, so if you're a really good artist, you could get this looking pretty good. I'm going to increase my brush, and I'm just going to kind of blend it in as much as I can. And you see that's not going to look good. So I'm just going to leave the hair in there. And we're going to adjust the color so it'll fit a little bit better. Alright, so with Katy selected, let's go to colors. And then I'm going to go to brightness, contrast. And I'm going to bring the brightness down. I'm sorry. Leave contrast, brightness. I'm going to drag it down some. And you want to kind of darken it a little so that way the face kind of blends in. You want to try to match the colors as much as possible. So I think that looks a little better. I'm going to click OK. And you can go to colors, and you see it's kind of white here. We want to maybe add, I don't know, hue saturation. Let's click on the red. Ooh, that gives it a green. We don't want that. Just kind of adjust it. Give it a little bit. Got a little red there. And basically, you're just going to play around with it until you get a color that you like and you think it looks well. Alright, and then, of course, we can blend. We can go to tools, and we can go to levels. And you can take these little triangles and adjust your levels. Click OK. You can also do mode normal. I do merge. I don't know, you could just multiply. Ooh. Hard mix. That doesn't work. We're going to do normal. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. And the next thing we want to do is we want to kind of blend. I'm going to come over here to my blur tool. I don't know how that's going to work. Let's blend it in. Click on the blend, and you can adjust your hardness. And all I'm doing is kind of blending it in to get rid of some of these harsh lines. I don't know if you could tell what I'm doing. And I've kind of erased that part. Probably should have made her face a little bit bigger. Okay. I'm just kind of blending this in, try to move some of this purple out. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. But you can adjust it and play around with it, and you'll see some of the hairs are down here at the bottom. I can clone this, so if I come here to the clone tool, and I'm going to come here to the Iron Man. I'm going to turn Katie off for a moment. Okay, I want to get some of these whiskers off, so I'm going to decrease my brush. Now when I hold the control key down and click, it's going to take on the properties of where I click. So when I click there, when I come down here and drag, it's going to kind of clone it. Well, that looks alright. I'm going to try to get some of these whiskers out. So now I'm going to click here and clone it. All I'm doing is basically copying that little area. Let's see, that don't even look good. So I'm going to come back to that. Alright, let's turn Katie back on. And see, I was able to get rid of the little whiskers around there. And I'm stopping there. I think that looks pretty good. And now the last thing we need to do is, first of all, let's save this file. And we're going to save as. And you see it's an XCF file, which is your Gimp. And I'm just going to do iron_Katie face swap. And then save it in a folder. Save. Okay, so now you've saved the Gimp file. You can always come back and make corrections. And then the last thing you need to do is, let's merge these two together. Let's right click on Katie and let's merge down, and it basically just puts them together. This makes one single image. Now you don't have to do that, but it's good practice. So then you can go to File and then Export, and it's ironkatieFaceSwap.png, and it's under my folder there. Export. That's all there is to it. Let me go and open that folder up. And there's my final image. This will be the image that you upload into your website. Please see me if you have any questions, and then upload it and go on to the next tutorial. Thank you.